Yes, Retro Circles. My first demon that I ever beat in Geometry Dash. It's crazy to think that when I beat this, it was over 2 years ago. But I thought I should make the story on how I beat Retro Circles. And it has a lot to do with how I didn't want my first easy demon to be the Nightmare. So I looked around, quit a few levels, and I finally settled on Retro Circles after watching a video of Tried Play Retro Circles, or at least mention it in one of his videos. But here's going to be that story. I started playing like how everybody does, playing levels like Stereo Madness, Back on Track, and other things. But what really made me love this game is the playing aspect of it. I am a very competitive person, and so when I was told about this game, I tried to beat all my friends and family in how far I could get in this game. And little did I know that would lead me down the track to how I found and started playing my favorite game. I have been playing for about 4 years with a couple demons under my belt, such as Speed of Light, Fajorg, Ruins of Destiny, and I Spy with My Little Light, and some others, but this is before all that, when I beat my first demon. I started doing a practice mode run of the level to see how hard the level really is, because I dropped levels previously, such as Platinum Avengers, which I thought was going to be my first demon, but it ended up not working out, so I did a practice mode run of it, and I beat the level in 193 attempts. I don't have the original raw recording of it, but I do have the screenshot of it. But now I think it's time for what we've all been waiting for, the story of how I completed Retro Circles. When I first started, I would practice the level in my off time as much as I could, and eventually I practiced until I got to the drop part, and I died at 43%. This was my first major accomplishment when trying to beat Retro Circles, and I realized that I can make it to the drop in this level, so all I gotta do is beat the drop, which is a bit easier said than done. So I went in practice mode and started practicing the drop over and over again until I got a pretty good run of the drop to the reload part of the drop. During this time, I was in cross country, so I had a lot more things in my mind, but I still was grinding out the level as much as I could. My teammates would actually kind of get annoyed at me for how much I would just be playing it, and they'd have to hear the same song over and over and over again. But during one of those attempts, I ended up getting a new best of 62%. Also, shout out to GD Colon, who I was watching while playing that attempt. It took a long time, but after that, my next major progress was getting 74% in the level. And this was after failing at around 62 a few more times, which was demotivating, but I never quite gave up on the level, for now at least. After I got 74% on the level, I kept practicing the wave part, and I couldn't get it down for the life of me, until I finally got 78% as a new best. Now, it's not a much improvement, but for me, it was really demotivating getting to the second part of the drop and dying over and over and over again. So, at least it was signs of progress that I was getting better at the game. Now, this is where the story starts to take a turn for the worst. I kept dying before I got any more progress for almost a month, and it's really demotivating to not see any progress after practicing over and over and over again. So I started not playing it as much, but I did end up getting a new best of around 84%. So I kept going and kept practicing, but I couldn't get past that for quite a while, and it was just draining on me because I had no way of really getting past that besides just practice. I would still be playing it daily, putting in a few attempts a day, or at least trying to put in at least a few attempts a day, but it was really demotivating not seeing any progress on the level. So I almost gave it up, but one day while I was playing, I got a finally new best of around 85%. Yes, it is slow progress, but it's progress nonetheless. And this was followed by me not getting a new best for, I'm pretty sure it was like a month. But I'm finally creeping closer and closer to the end. And that's when I got to the last part and died in the last cube that I told myself I wasn't, at 92%. Sure, yeah, it was really disheartening that I died in the cube part, but it is a sign that I was close to the end, close to finally finishing this level. I got past the entire wave part, which is the hard part of this level. And so I kept practicing, and later that day, I got a new best of 94%, which is also in the cube part. And once I died there, I was like, I am not dying in this cube part anymore. So I practiced it until I could get past it without even trying. I got it down to a T. So I didn't get any more good runs that day, but I continued to practice the level daily because I knew I was close. I knew once I get there again, I will beat this level, and I'll finally have beaten my first demon in this game that I care so much about. You don't get runs all the way to the end very often, so I kept practicing, kept playing. I put in a few hundred more attempts, and I finally got to the end, and I got to the last cube, and I was like, this is it. This is finally, I'm about to beat my first demon, and the unthinkable happened. To say I was discouraged would be a huge understatement. I was broken from that. I was so close to the end. I was one jump away, and that early jump was all it took to ruin the run that could have been it. I was so ready to be done with the level, because this was after probably 3 months of trying to beat this level, and I was just not able to. I thought I was gonna have to give up. I was so close finishing to the end. I remember this part very, very vividly. I was sitting in my room and I got to there, and I was so mad at myself for having messed that up. I was so close to the end. I should not have failed that. I was one click away from getting my first demon, and I just quit playing the level for about a week. And I thought to myself, I can't just give up on this. I'm so close to the end. There's no percentage I can get more. There's no progressing more. All I have to do is just put in the effort and beat it. Now, I died a few more times after 70 and 80%, but none of them were at least in the cube. So I was happy about that. but I finally did get to that last cube. And one day, I got that lucky run. But without further ado, here is my completion of Retro Circles. Now, that wasn't the original video of me beating it because I don't have the original. I was screen recording to a friend when I beat it, but I did end up re-beating it a year later, so that's the recording that I showed, but I do have a screenshot of when I originally beat it. It took me 2,400 attempts, and that was my first demon. To say I was ecstatic would be an understatement. I was absolutely freaking out while in call with my friend. It was so surreal seeing that. I spent so long beating that level, and I finally had it done. But thank you for listening, and please be sure to subscribe and watch more videos of mine. I plan on posting more, but thank you, and see ya.